Welcome, everybody, to our November 13th Forward Pinellas meeting. We'll call the meeting to order. I am filling in for the illustrious Janet Long. My name is Julie Ward-Pachelski. And we will go right into the invocation and pledge, which is going to be led by Commissioner Scott. If you would please stand.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, your wisdom, and your support as we begin this meeting. Please help us engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of our community. We pray for wisdom, for strength, and for courage to do what is right and good for all citizens. May we put the interests of others above our own. May we act with good love for the common good. May we be good neighbors, recognizing your image in every person here. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Commissioner Scott. All right. We'll move on to citizens to be heard. Anybody wishing to come forward to talk about anything that's not already on the agenda, please feel free to do so. You'll have 3 minutes and give us your name and address for the record.
Madam Chair, we have David Ballard Geddes Jr.
Okay. Welcome, David.
Hi, good afternoon. David Ballard Geddes Jr. I live on Georgia Avenue in Palm Harbor. Everything this government does is reverse engineered, from the layout of construction and development, infrastructure scheming, to the tune of the Constitution itself is reverse engineered for the purpose of making a bunch of money, engineering things incorrectly, then doubling down, creating a secondary business, correcting everything that was done wrong from the start. Based on the Declaration of Independence, our legislation is calling this pretended, calling this a candid world, and is loyal to the British brethren. I wonder, is our local government, as they live, work, and play, loyal to British undertakings as well? Article 6 states that this Constitution is under this Constitution in pursuance thereof, both in its capture of both land and water in Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11, seen as a ship of war in Article 1, Section 10. George Washington, in his farewell address, farewell to what address, states that we are being given a useful lesson on our heads, seen as a useful art in Article 1, Section 8, Clause 8. George Washington and his inseparable savage nature, working for the legislation of the British brethren as their mercenary, is claiming to be of greatest rankness and truly one's worst enemy in a multi-generationally propagated undertaking. The 14th Amendment serves as a ring bolt operation connecting this Constitution with this Constitution, creating a two-state government reflective of the debt, both public and private, next to the Mona Lisa smile on George Washington's smirk on the $1 bill. Serving as a foundation for today's Patriot Act is the ex-Patriot Act of 1868. So explain to me how you intend to move forward on that stacked state of affairs. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Anyone else, Tina?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay. We're going to just skip over the recognitions and announcements right now because we're still waiting for some folks to arrive. So we'll bring that back up a little bit later. We're going to move on to consent agenda, where we have the approval of the minutes from September 11th, approval of committee appointments, the approval of the federal functional classification, the approval of the 2025 board and committee meeting schedules, the acceptance of the Planners Advisory Committee roster for 2025, the countywide plan map annual update, the official acceptance, the acceptance of the Q4 financial report, the approval of the interlocal agreements for multimodal impact fee ordinance update for Largos, Clearwater, and St. Pete, the approval of scope and fees for the Gateway Master Plan implementation for Pinellas Park and Largo, the adoption of Resolution 24-05, repealing and replacing Resolution 96-02 on PPC hearing procedures, and the approval of scope and fee for the 49th Street corridor traffic analysis. Are there any items to be pulled by my colleagues?
Move approval.
Second.
Okay. Is there anyone here to speak to any of these items?
No, Madam Chair, there is not.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 to 0.
We had a hurricane, so that's why we have so many of those items on the consent. Hopefully, that's the last hurricane.
All right, while we're still waiting for others to arrive, we'll go ahead and start the public hearing items, I guess. Yes, Tina? Is that okay with you?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay. All right. So we have the Metropolitan Planning Organization, the proposed amendments to the Transportation Improvement Plan.
That's going to be Ariane Martins of our staff.
Okay. Come on down. Welcome.
Hello. Hello. Okay. So this board meeting, we're going to have 3 tip amendments. The first amendment is going to be a grant that PSTA received. It is a low and no emissions FTA grant, and this grant is meant to go to the purchase of some vehicles and equipment, and it needs to be included in a tip in order to receive funding. The second amendment is from Curlew Road from East Landmark Drive to Tampa Road, and it will receive a $5.3 million increase due to the construction cost increasing. The third tip amendment is going to be from Alt US 19 from 5th Ave to East Park Street. It will receive a $3.3 million increase and is also due to the construction cost increasing.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay, questions for Anna? No questions? Okay. Anybody from the public wish to speak to this item?
No, Madam Chair, there is not.
Okay, can I have a motion and a second to approve?
Move approval.
Okay, Commissioners Scott and Commissioner Driscoll. Any final discussion?
This one calls for a roll call vote, Mayor
Yep.
Bajowski.
I know. Any final discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Driscoll.
Yes.
Commissioner Eggers. Vice Mayor Albritton. Commissioner Scott. Councilmember Muhammad.
Yes.
Councilmember Reed.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burke.
Yes.
And Mayor Bajowski.
Aye, and that motion passes 8 to 0. Okay, and then we have the fall update of the Transportation Improvement Plan. Ariana, got you again.
Yes. So good afternoon, everyone. This is going to be the fall update of the Transportation Improvement Program. And the fall update basically is the inclusion of the Capital Improvement Program. Next slide, please. So usually the tip follows a timeline, and in January, FDOT provides their draft tentative work program. Around April, that work program is finalized in May or June, along with the MPO priority list, the annual adoption of the Transportation Improvement Program. And in the October of 2024, that's when we provide the fall. It was supposed to be in October, but the hurricane. We provide the fall update where we include the Pinellas County Capital Improvement Program along with some local government work program. So what's going to be included in this fall update of the TIP document? The work programs from PSTA, the Pinellas County Capital Improvement Program, and as I mentioned, the local government work programs. But this meeting, we're only going to focus on the Capital Improvement Program. In your packets, you can see the supplemental materials where you can find the tables and the corresponding maps. On the tables, you're going to see the project number, the location, the project description, and the status of these projects. On the Forward Pinellas website, we provide a link. We're not responsible for this dashboard. We only provide a link. And this is is where on our website you can find this dashboard. So focusing on the Pinellas County CIP, starting with a summary. 6 new projects were added into the CIP. 5 projects were completed and removed from the CIP document. 40 projects remain the same. And 18 projects have changed, meaning they're deferred fiscal year or they change status from either design to construction or something else. Starting with the project highlights of the sidewalks and bike projects, the Pinellas Trail Loop, South Gap from 126th Avenue to Ultimatum Trail is currently in design and the construction is scheduled to be in 2024. The Pinellas Trail South Gap from Ultimatum Road to Haynes Bayshore is currently in design and construction is scheduled to be in 2026. The Highland Avenue from Biller Road to East Bay Drive, it's a roadway improvements project, is in design and is scheduled to be in construction in 2026. The Joe's Creek Trail and Stormwater Management, this project is meant to decrease the flood risk in the area, is currently in design and is scheduled to be in construction in 2026. The Nebraska Avenue from Alt US 19 to West Lake Road is a roadway improvement project and is currently in construction or is scheduled to be in construction in 2024. Yes?
Just on that, do we need to make sure that that is an accurate assessment? That construction in 2024, it's not going to start, it probably won't even start in 2025. If it does anything, it'll be late 25, maybe 26. Do we need to make that change? It's definitely not happening this year. And so it probably won't even happen in 2025.
Which one are you referring
The
to?
last one,
Nebraska Avenue.
Nebraska
Oh, gotcha.
Avenue.
Do you think the county is referring to a fiscal year of 24, 25?
I believe that's what they're referring to.
We can clarify that for sure.
You're talking, and that would be like by September?
Yes, of 25.
Okay. Well, there's the possibility of that. It says construction 24, so I just want to make sure I was clear.
Right.
Okay.
I believe it's a fiscal year reference, but we'll confirm that.
Well, then it should be 25 up there anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the next project is Starkey Road from Old Terminton Road to East Bay Drive. This is a sidewalk project and is currently in construction. The 71st Street from 38th Avenue to 54th Avenue. This is a sidewalk and roadway improvements project and is scheduled to be in construction in 2025. The Riviera Road from Tampa Road to Nebraska Avenue. This is also another sidewalk project and is scheduled to be in construction in 2025. The Pinellas Trail Loop Phase 5, St. Martin Boulevard from Macoma Drive to Gandhi Boulevard. This is a project to determine the best location for a trail, is currently in design. The McKay Creek Green Rail, this is going to be a new trail that is over 4 miles, is scheduled to be in construction in the fiscal year of 2026. For roadway projects, the 62nd Avenue North from 49th Street to 34th Street, this is a project that was included in the LRTP and it was in the active transportation plan. The preliminary engineering is complete and construction is scheduled to be in 2028. The Starkey Road from Fleming Vine to Bryan Dairy Road is a reconstruction and widening project. This project is going to go from 4 lanes to 6 lanes, is scheduled to be in construction in the fiscal year of 2025. The Starkey Road from Bryan Dairy Road to Ultimatum Road, this is a roadway improvement project, is going to include turn lanes and a bike lane. It's scheduled to be in construction in 2031. And the last project is going to be the Keystone Road and East Lake Road, and this project is to improve the emergency access on that intersection and is currently in design. So for the next steps, today's action item is for Pinellas Board to approve the inclusion of the capital improvement program into the transportation improvement program document. Just a side note that we're not approving any transportation projects. We're just approving that the capital improvement program is included in the TIP document. So all of these documents are found in one place. If approved, the document will be adopted as the official TIP and transmitted to federal government approval.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, just one other one. On the, I think it was paid, right at the beginning, supplemental materials, table 1. The West Winds Bridge and the Crosswind Bridge, which says it's underway, the very beginning. Keep going all the way back. No, it was before that. It was at the very beginning, under work programs. There you go. Again, I'm just saying for accuracy, this is not, they're finished. Both are completed, construction's completed, so I just want to make sure that was in for the record. It's not underway. Those are both been completed probably for over 6 months now. That's it. Thank you.
And I do have a clarification. The Nebraska Avenue project has been moved to FY25.
Okay.
That's according to county staff.
Yeah, that's not going to happen either. Okay, thank you.
That's the best.
That can happen, but it's not going to, but, okay. Yeah.
Anyone else have questions? Anybody from the public wish to speak to this item?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay, can I have a motion and a second? Okay. Did you get that?
I have a motion by Patty Reed and a second by
Yep.
Gina Driscoll.
Okay, any final discussion? Roll call vote.
Councilmember Driscoll,
Yes.
Commissioner Eggers,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Albritton, Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Councilmember Muhammad,
Yes.
Councilmember Patty Reed,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burke,
Yes.
Mayor Bujalski.
Aye, and that motion passes 8-0. Okay, we'll go to the adoption of the Advantage Pinellas 2050 Plan, LRTP.
All right. Well, good afternoon. Chelsea Favero, Ford Pinellas staff. Here today to present what will hopefully be the last presentation on the long-range transportation plan for a little while. We've come to you every month now for about the past 2 years with some small update, and it is culminating today in the adoption. I will point out there is a very large print, I apologize for that, spreadsheet in front of you. We did notice one small error in the balancing tables of the LRTP. The right-of-way costs, or the design costs for one of the US 19 projects was inadvertently placed in a right-of-way column. It's very small, the overall project totals didn't change, but we want to make sure the plan that we adopt has the absolute best information available. So that change has been made in the giant spreadsheet in front of you, and it is also reflected in the final documents online. I just wanted to point that out. All right, so just backing up a little bit about the long-range transportation plan. You know, we've talked for a couple of years about how we update the plan and develop a new one every 5 years to account for the latest changes in socioeconomic data and policy. But Advantage Pinellas is really a strategic plan for us as an agency. It helps us guide where redevelopment and intensification of development will occur into the future, and it helps to guide our transportation investments for the next 5 years. A lot of the decisions that we make as an agency are really grounded in Advantage Pinellas, and it just sets that foundation for the decisions that we make going forward. As I mentioned, we've been working on this for a very long time, starting back in the spring of 2023. And it's been a series of phases, each one building upon the other, in order to get us to a final balanced list of projects that you see in front of you today. When we talk about planning for the future, this is what we are aiming for. We do believe that by 2050, we'll see just under 10% more permanent residents and an increase of just under 12% of jobs here in Pinellas County. And when we came up with the list of projects for the long-range transportation plan, based on all of the things we were hearing from the public and various stakeholders, these 5 tenets that you see up on the screen are really the lens at which we looked through in order to identify those projects. We looked at the ability of a project that would to invest in the workforce and economic opportunity, and we wanted to think and act regionally and connect to our regional assets. Safety is paramount. You all are very familiar with some of the safety challenges in our transportation network, and we want to make sure that our investments are helping improve those. We want to strengthen our communities, and we also want to rely heavily on data and technology to help us reach our goals. And we didn't just come up with all of these ideas, in a vacuum. We did a lot of outreach with the public. We participated in more than 15 events countywide, trying to reach the public with where they're located. Instead of asking them to come to us at a public meeting, we went out to them to talk to them about how they'd like to see their transportation dollars invested. We did a lot of presentations to civic groups. We did a statistically valid survey of the public, and we also did a series of 3 focus groups. In addition to that, we had an online presence. We had a website where we updated it with each different phase of the LRTP, or Advantage Pinellas, asked different questions to hear from the public. And what we heard all along was actually very consistent. We heard that safety for bicyclists, pedestrians, and automobiles is one of the highest priorities to our residents. We heard that investing in technology is incredibly important for our communities in order to move people. We heard that there's a strong desire for improved transit service, especially for regional destinations. We heard that people want the potholes filled. They want our roads maintained. And there was an underlying understanding that roadway expansion, while it is appropriate in some locations, is not appropriate everywhere in Pinellas County. And if we keep widening our roadways, it may have a detrimental impact on communities and businesses in certain locations. So with all that in mind, we came up with what is our final cost feasible plan. The final cost feasible plan includes $500 million in transit capital and operations fund projects. It includes $84.6 million in active transportation, and it includes $1.2 billion in roadway construction projects. And there's a footnote there that it also includes about $7 billion in roadway operations, maintenance, and bridges. That's for the entire District 7 area, not just Pinellas County. But we want to point that out because when we look at the transit, it's capital and operations, and we just want to be fair and balanced when we also show the roadways. We are budgeting funding for the operations, maintenance, and for bridge replacement in the long-range transportation plan. Some highlights of the investments that are included in front of you today include projects along US 19. These projects span from just north of Curlew all the way up towards Tarpon Avenue. There are investments in I-275 that include extending the express lanes from the Howard Franklin Bridge down to I-375. It also includes investing in lane continuity improvements along the corridor all the way down to 54th Avenue South. There's funding in here to complete the Pinellas Trail Loop and also to invest in east-west connections from that loop. There's also funding in here to improve trail crossings throughout Pinellas County, to improve safety at those. There's funding set aside to provide construction and planning grants to our local government partners. Later on, when you get a presentation on the draft tentative work program, you may notice a couple projects in the St. Petersburg area, in Clearwater, in Pinellas County. Those are funded through our competitive grant programs, and we're happy to be able to provide some of that funding to our local partners so that they can get their projects done. There's also supplemental funding for FDOT resurfacing projects so that when the state goes and resurfaces a project, if there's a local need along that corridor, there's funding available to help augment that project and bring a little more funding so that those local needs can be addressed. And then there's also funding for transit capital investments. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so, just could you maybe give us a few highlights on that transit capital that you're talking about?
Yes, this plan sets aside $1.5 million annually for transit capital investments as determined by PSTA. Currently, that's for replacement buses, for charging infrastructure. It could be for new shelters, and it is spelled out on the spreadsheet. It's a $1.5 million annual allocation that we've been providing for the last 5 years, and we've budgeted going forward that same amount.
For that period of time, 1.5 million
Annually.
for transit capital. Okay, so for the 500 million that we're seeing here is capital and operation.
Correct. It's for all of the above.
Thank you.
All right. And so today's action, we will be seeking a roll call vote from all of you to approve Advantage Pinellas, the 2050 Long Range Transportation Plan, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, any other questions from my colleagues on this item? Pretty important item. We've been working on it for a long time. Right, I'm sure. We talk about it every month, right? You're probably sick of hearing from it.
Never.
Madam Chair.
No. Oh, that's right. Whit, you have some final comments on this?
Yeah, I do. I want to add to this. First of all, congratulations to Chelsea. It's been 2 years out of your life on this and a lot of our staff time. This is a really important document, and I was thinking last night, we are at a real transition period with the adoption of this long-range plan because we have a new board coming on in January, a much bigger board. It's been nice to have a small little group of people, and now we're going to be 19. We are also in a transition nationally with a new administration coming into Washington. And, we want to give the new board members who come in January an opportunity to really fully understand this plan, but also to put their policy imprint on how we go forward, because the long-range plan really does inform everything we do as an MPO. It guides our call for projects. It guides our partnerships with local government partners, with PSTA, with the Florida Department of Transportation. And it follows a strategic framework that is aligned with our Advantage Pinellas housing program, our housing action plan. It aligns with the PSTA transit development plan, and it aligns most importantly with our countywide land use plan, where we have amended the countywide plan to allow for increases in residential density and intensity in certain key corridors, partly as a reflection of the Live Local Act and the mandate that has from Tallahassee, but also because those major commercial corridors are places where we see an opportunity to build housing in the right locations out of the flood zone, out of the coastal high hazard area. So there's a lot of implications with this. And what I wanted to let the board members know is that beginning in December, and as we move into the new year, we will be getting the new board up to speed on this plan. And we'll be walking them through the different elements of the long-range plan, the active transportation plan, pieces like that, the target employment and industrial land study and how that is tied to the long-range plan. All those things are related. So we're going to be doing it through workshops. This board agreed that we would have quarterly workshops with the new board because that'll give us time to do a little deeper dive. We also will do one-on-one briefings, and then we'll start introducing this long-range plan to the new board at our January meeting. All that's to say is what I want to be able to do is tell the new board members who are coming in that you have an opportunity to build on those relationships you may have in Tallahassee or in Washington to help us advance these transportation projects. But it's got to start with the long-range plan. If there's a desire to move in a different direction from a policy standpoint, then we'll give the new board that opportunity to do so. So I say that because we're adopting this now, and this is the last meeting of this board, and then we'll have this new board in. So that transition is going to be really important. The one thing that you should always take away about transportation planning is that it's continuing, it's cooperative, and it's comprehensive. And so those are three elements that we're required to incorporate from the federal perspective. And continuing means that some of these things we've been working on for many, many years, and some it'll take many more years to come to fruition, but that's what we can do. The best time to plant a tree 10 years ago, the second best time is today. So I just wanted to give that little introduction and see if you all had questions for either me or Chelsea as we get ready to adopt this very important document.
I think they said they're done asking questions. But thank you. Thank all of you for your hard work. I mean, I know everybody in the whole organization's probably touched this document in some way or another. So thank you for all your efforts. It's well received. Anybody from the public wish to speak to this item?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay, can I have a motion and a second? So moved. Okay. It's a roll call as well. Yep. Commissioner Dave and Commissioner Gina. Okay, any final discussion? All right, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Driscoll?
Yes.
Commissioner Eggers?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Albritton?
Aye.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Councilmember Muhammad?
Yes.
Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Councilmember Floyd,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burke,
Yes.
and Mayor Bujowski.
Aye, and that motion passes 8-0.
9-0 now.
Sorry, 9.
Richie Floyd's here now.
Oh, that's right, sorry. I did see you come in. My apologies. 9-0. Okay, so now we'll move to the Pinellas Planning Council portion of the meeting, which are countywide plan map amendments, and we'll go to case number CW 24-19, City of St. Petersburg. I know as we do this, we will move into and they will be conducted as follows. I will ask for Ford Pinellas staff to present the items. Applicant local governments are available for questions as needed. Once each presentation is given, I will then ask for proponents of the proposal to speak, then opponents, and finally, any other citizens who wish to comment or ask questions on the case. We will then hear rebuttal by the applicant as necessary, and a staff response on summary. At that time, the board will ask questions, and then we'll close the public hearing, and the board will deliberate and take action. So like I said, first case, CW 24-19, City of St. Petersburg.
Perfect.
Welcome, Emma.
Our first case for today. So this is a 0.58 acre site located at 920 20th Avenue South. The current designation is residential medium, and the request is an amendment to the countywide plan map category to go to multimodal corridor. This property is currently vacant, and the proposed use is going to be multifamily development. These maps are showing you the general location map within the county as well as the jurisdictional map within the City of St. Petersburg. Then looking at the surrounding uses, we have single-family residential to the north and the west. Then we have some vacant commercial to the east, and then medical office there to the south. So again, the current countywide plan map designation is residential medium, which does allow for medium density residential development, but the proposed amendment seeks to change this designation to multimodal corridor. This shift will support higher density multifamily housing and does enhance the connectivity within the area as well. So on our land use strategy map, this does indicate that this area is intended to promote mixed-use development. Additionally, the location of this property is close within proximity to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Street South, and this is a designated supporting corridor, which indicates that it would be suitable for a multimodal corridor designation, facilitating better transportation and access. So in conclusion, staff does recommend approval of this amendment to multimodal corridor designation. There have been no public comments received to date, and this amendment is consistent with the relevant countywide considerations and will support an overall vision for a more connected and accessible community. And that is all that I have for this one. If you guys have any questions for me.
Okay. Oh. Okay.
Sorry, Mayor Bujowski, I didn't catch the motion or second.
Okay. Councilmember John from St. Pete, and I'm sorry, who was the second? Okay. Richie. Okay. Do you guys have any questions? Obviously not. Any rebuttal from the City of St. Pete or?
Madam Chair, there are no proponents, opponents, or other citizens wishing to be heard on this case.
Gotcha. Richie?
I mean, I'll just say, we have seen this at City Council already. It's pretty straightforward. I think I could be mistaken, but so if anybody else can speak up if they're wrong, if I'm wrong, but the person who owns the property right next door that's commercial also owns the property we're talking about today, and they just want to have one piece of land that's all the same. Seems pretty straightforward.
Okay. Any other final comments? Is this a voice vote, Tina? Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9-0. All right, now we'll go to case number CW 24-20, City of Tarpon Springs.
Yes, this is our second case. The subject property is about 35.7 acres, and it is located at 42501 US Highway 19 North. The existing countywide plan map categories are retail and services, office, and preservation, and the proposed countywide plan map categories is preservation and recreation open space. It is currently vacant, and the proposed use is for land conservation and community recreation. Again, we have a locational map as well as the jurisdictional map showing the Tarpon Springs jurisdiction. So surrounding uses, we have tidal lands to the north and the west, and then to the east there is some single family and then a mobile home community to the south. So this slide is outlining the current and proposed countywide plan map designations. So again, the existing designations are retail and services, preservation, and office. And the proposed changes will convert the area to preservation and recreation open space. This transition is aimed at enhancing the wetlands and the natural landscape and providing the community recreational opportunities as well. So this property is located within the coastal high hazard area, but the proposed amendment will reduce the residential density and intensity. So this aligns with the countywide regulations that emphasize flood resilience and the preservation of our natural ecosystems in these sensitive areas. There is an approved plan development for this area, and that is a multifamily apartment development. This was approved in November 2022, and a building permit, I believe, for the site work has been issued. Now, as part of the approval conditions, the applicant must amend the city's future land map amendment, and this amendment is carrying that requirement out. So this is focusing on preserving the upland habitat and properly categorizing the wetlands as well. So in conclusion, we do recommend approval of the amendment of this amendment. There has been some public comments received, and those concerns have been mainly about environmental impacts and overall density. But we do feel that this proposal aligns with our goals of enhancing community access to recreational spaces and then also ensuring environmental protection for the wetland areas. And I am open for questions. That is all that I have for this presentation. I do believe that there is a city representative that is wanting to speak after me as well, but I can take any questions at this time.
Any questions from my colleagues before we move to the next presentations here? Okay. Applicant, local government. Come on down.
Good afternoon. Pat McNeese. I'm with Planning and Zoning in Tarpon Springs. I'm here to answer any questions. I don't have a presentation.
Thank you, Pat. Okay, we're going to go to proponents and opponents. The first proponent I have on the list is Cindy Terrapini. Come on down. And she has 10 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I won't take the 10 minutes.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here and back in business as we're all kind of recovering from the storm, and I know in your local government you're dealing with that as well, but I appreciate your time to consider this application today. My name is Cindy Terrapini with Terrapini Planning Strategies. I'm the authorized agent for the applicant, who is the Morgan Group. The city approved this multifamily project on a total of 64 acres in 2021. The approvals at that time included a rezoning to the PD district, which is a site plan controlled district, and an approval of a master plan. A plan amendment was not necessary for the project at the time. But one of the conditions of the master plan approval that the city imposed as part of their approval was to submit a plan amendment for two distinct areas. The first area is to submit a plan amendment from ROG, Residential Office General, to the rec open space plan category, and that's for about 14.5 acres of uplands within the 64-acre site that were not planned to be developed by the PD master plan. The second condition was a plan amendment to recognize the site's wetlands as approved by SwiftMud. And we did receive a SwiftMud permit for the jurisdictional line, and so that we have submitted that to the city. And normally, as you might see in other jurisdictions, that wetlands is considered an adjustment, not a public hearing. However, the city of Tarpon Springs doesn't use that process. They required a public hearing to recognize the wetlands. So that's part of why we are here. Again, the first part of the plan amendment to change the unbuilt uplands to open space is clearly a down planning. Not only does it reduce the development potential on these 14.5 acres, but it eliminates it completely because rec open space doesn't allow any development at all. On the city's approved master plan, these areas are proposed for active and passive recreation and open space. The second part of the plan amendment to recognize the wetlands is to recognize what was actually approved by SwiftMud, and we submitted the SwiftMud survey and the approved SwiftMud jurisdictional line that we received in 2020. It's common, I'm sure you all have seen it in your own local governments, to have some irregularity. When you have an irregularly shaped site, as this is on parts of it, the southern peninsulas, the countywide map and the city map, for that matter, don't exactly align with where the wetland and upland line is, and that's why we have the distinction today. We are asking for all 22 acres, 22.08 acres of the site that was approved by SwiftMud as wetlands to be recognized with the preservation plan category. It's interesting to note that in 1999, 11 acres of the site's wetlands were designated as preservation through a plan amendment, and at the time, the applicant's attorney, Ed Armstrong, requested at the city public hearing, quote, if a SwiftMud environmental resource permit is issued, the Tarpon Springs recognize the jurisdictional boundaries at the precise boundary line delineating the preservation from the balance of the property. This quote is directly from the city's minutes of the Board of Commissioners hearing in August of 1999. Well, here we are, a little bit later, but the site sat vacant for quite some time. But now we are here asking for that precise boundary approval as SwiftMud approved. It should be noted too, and I think you caught the difference, the preservation amount of wetlands that we're proposing today on the entire site is 22 acres. At the time, they believed it was less, but we are recognizing the entire 22 acres. Just a little background information that's not necessarily related to the plan amendment, but just to give you a status of the project. Since 2021 approval, the Morgan Group has obtained permits from the following agencies to move forward on the project. Site work construction permits from the city, utility extension permits from the city, SwiftMud permits for construction, wetlands jurisdictional line, and wetlands enhancement, FDOT driveway and off-site roadway and drainage construction permits, a clearance letter from the Florida Department of State Bureau of Historic Resources, an eagle permit to construct in proximity to the nest, not to impact the nest or remove the nest, from Florida Fish and Wildlife, and gopher tortoise permits from Florida Fish and Wildlife, which they do have a short time frame. They did expire. We are reapplying for those as I speak. So as you can see, the project is clearly moving forward. We respectfully request your approval of this plan amendment that will prevent development on the 14 acres of uplands and, of course, the 22 acres of wetlands. Thank you, and I'll be happy to answer your questions.
Thank you. Any other proponents wish to speak to this item?
No, Madam Chair, there are no additional proponents.
Okay, we have an opponent already signed up. The concerned citizen of Tarpon Springs, Peter Dalakos. Welcome.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My first time to be here before you, so just a half a moment. I am Peter Dalakis, 514 Ashland Avenue, Tarpon Springs. I am president of the Friends of the Anclote River. And just to give you a little information, I did send forward some documents, and I thank Rodney for forwarding it and hope Emma had a look at it. So I will refer to them at some point in my discussion. Okay, oh good. Now I see how you do that. First, let me say a couple of introductory things. As a representative of concerned citizens, we did take legal action against the Morgan Group and the city. We did lose that, and this has nothing to do with any legalities. You can confirm from staff and from Ms. Terrapini that basically they have received all the permissions necessary. However, I do have to clarify a couple of things. One, you've not been given all the information that has been presented through this time frame. Let me first say something about what was said earlier. Ms. Wennick said that it was a condition of approving. Staff will tell you the approval of this is not a condition. The condition that was in the resolution that approved the final development plan said they had to apply. That was it. They already met their condition for being here. So, on this document, may not be easy to read, but this actually is evidence that Ms. Terrapini sent to the Planning and Zoning Board and the city. And the reason why I want to bring it out is because it defines that there's actually 3 parcels. So there's parcel 1 to amend the future land use mass for 5.911 acres, the upland preserve on the southeast section of the Anclote Harbor site. And if you could put a picture of that page 4 of the map where it shows the county-wide zoning, I can point out to you where this is. The second parcel is the significant upland habitat, which is 8.568 acres, and it's a significant upland habitat located in the southwest peninsula, Anclote Harbor site, and along the Anclote River. The third parcel is the swift mud lands in the wetlands that are the ones that are going to be designated preservation. But one of the things that has kind of been brushed aside when you looked at the original statement, the land that's being changed out already has preservation. And the statement that Ms. Terrapini made in 1999, there was a ordinance passed right here. Hard to read. Where part 11.5 acres of what was retail office and commercial general was turned into preservation. Now they're saying 14.57 acres of those areas is going to recreation open space. But they're only changing 3 acres to recreation open space that's not already preservation. So she speaks of down zoning, I speak of down preservation. And the reason why I'm going to say this, and I'm going to point this out of the city's comprehensive plan that was just approved, you have to understand what our rules say as far as preservation and recreation. So just to give you a clarification, recreation open space uses providing recreational facilities, sporting facilities, and open space such as park. Here's the key word, public recreation facility, public beach and water access, and public or private golf courses. So that's what recreation open space allows. So as I pointed out, there's 2 separate parcels, one which is the and those are the only ones we're disputing. We have no problem with parcel 3, the swift mud delineation and characterization. What we have a problem with is 1 and 2. So you heard what I said, what recreation open space does. But what's a recreation facility? So facilities focusing on offering amusement, recreation, personal instruction, and or equipment or facilities for exercising and improving physical fitness, such as outdoor swimming pools, skateboard parks, arenas, school of dance, gymnastics, martial arts, athletic courts, skating rinks, batting cages, or other similar activities and establishments. So what you're doing, you're taking 11.55 acres that's already preservation, and you're going to open it up to all these recreation facilities, and that goes against not only the county-wide plans, but also the city's comprehensive plan where we're there to protect the environment and the wetlands and the nature. Now, you talk about this being a coastal high hazard area, yes. And part of what, if you were to look at the diagram, let me see if I can pull one up real quick for you. And it's in your staff on page 142 and 143, if you look at the agenda one, and if you look on the one from the your presentation, I think it was page 4. But if you really look at the map, you can see how most of it so preservation, this is all the wetlands in here. There's a culvert that cuts through here.
I'm sorry, Peter, you have to be by the mic, Peter, you have to be by the microphone for us to record
There's a
you.
culvert under there that's titled, but if you look, that's preservation, and then you're looking at proposed, it just extends that tongue a little bit, it adds this parcel and then that parcel. And in the resolution that was passed, there was a condition that they had to provide a deed of conservation easement right there. So, in order to, if you look at what they said they're going to do, where it says here, this is from Cindy's thing, the improvements proposed for the upland will be limited walking trails, benches, exercise equipment, and emergency call box. And parcel 2, basically the same things of recreation, open space, and stormwater management. Now, I want to point that part out about stormwater management. And it's on that page 2. Part of, let me get back to this. Part of that tongue, the southern part, is where their stormwater management pond is going to be. So they're already going to be protecting that in some regard, but basically that infringes into that area. But the point I want to point out also with regards to the conservation easement is paragraph 14. And we'll just flip that off. Up some. The conservation easement may be amended, altered, released, or revoked only by written agreement between the parties hereto or their heirs, assigns, or successors in interest, which shall be filed in the public records in Pinellas County, Florida. So what does that mean? It means this conservation easement is not permanent. It can be revoked. I'm going to point one more thing out.
And you have about 1 more minute.
This is an article from the Business Observer. I don't recall the date, but I have a number of them. And this is an example of an apartment complex that was flipped. It was 477-unit apartment complex at 1699 68th Street has been sold. The buyers Bethesda, Maryland-based Excelsior Properties, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The previous owner paid $55.33 million. And
Peter, you've got 10 seconds left, so I think you want to give us to the end of your...
basically what I'm trying to say is they're misinforming you. They're taking more land out of preservation into recreation open space, and you see the things that can go in there other than preserving the land. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Are there any other opponents here to speak to this item?
No, Madam Chair. One other citizen to be heard.
Okay, let's set the clock back to 3 minutes, please.
David Ballard Geddes Jr., and you'll have 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Welcome, David.
Hi, thanks again. Some of you know I've grown up in this area, been around for quite a long time. How much ecostructure is remaining in Pinellas County versus the 1960s. The wetlands of all kinds have been augmented, affected, dredged, filled, seawalled, or destroyed. To include the aquifer itself has been contaminated as a wetland. This particular parcel of wetland habitat that we're talking about along the Anclote River, this area has been flooded during the no-name storm as well as last month. I don't believe this is a parcel of property that should be developed upon. I find that there's a lack of respect when it comes to the ecostructure and developers in this county. I think we need to preserve this property as habitat. I remember when Countryside Mall was a cow field, some of the most unbridled development in the history of the world has taken place in Pinellas County. The fastest development in some of the state has happened within our lifetime. The ecostructure here is all but dead. Has anyone noticed that the schools of mullet in the Intercoastal Waterway are slim to none? Whereas when I was a child, schools of mullet were half the size of a football field. There's no fiddler crabs on Crystal Beach anymore. I haven't seen fiddler crabs on Sunset Beach either. We need to respect these things that we've been killing systematically. I haven't seen a bobcat, a rattlesnake, a coral snake. I haven't seen an armadillo in quite some time. I haven't seen a fox squirrel. And due to all this development, even further lawn pesticides and fertilizers have killed all the worms in the area. Please, set some land aside. God gave us this wonderful planet. We've paved over the top of it. We've developed on it recklessly. And in my opinion, if we go down this train track that we're on, we're going to see nothing but perfidy and death in the future. We need to stop and take a look at what we're doing. We need to start protecting and preserving those things that God gave us, to include all of its creatures need a place to live. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Anyone else? Tina?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay. Back to the local government. Do you have any rebuttal? No. The applicant, property owner, any rebuttal?
Ms. Terrapini, you'll have 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Cindy Terrapini for, excuse me, for the applicant. Well, first of all, I'll take exception to the fact that we, the applicant, have misinformed you and your staff. That's completely false. Your staff has looked at it. The city staff has looked at it. We are not taking any wetlands, actual wetlands, and moving them into rec open space. The only lands that are going into rec open space are uplands, and those are uplands that are already designated on the city's master plan that the city enforces to remain as rec open space. So first, that's just completely incorrect. Out of the entire site, the 64-acre site, we're developing on only 12 acres. The rest of it is 22 acres of wetlands, stormwater ponds, open space, all this area that we've been talking, recreation open space. And the last thing I would say, that the conservation, even just a note about it, obviously you know that's not in your jurisdiction, it's a local government issue, but I would point out that as part of the master plan, when the master plan was approved, the city approved the form of that conservation easement. They imposed it on us. We agreed to have a conservation easement over the upland areas and what could happen in those upland areas. The exact upland areas that we're talking about, they're going to rec open space. So not only is this project regulated by the PD master plan at the local level, a conservation easement that exists out there that anyone could enforce if they so choose, and now, if you approve it, a plan amendment that makes those areas rec open space and undevelopable in the future. Thank you very much. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Okay. Staff, do you have any kind of response or summary that you'd like to give on this item? I think it would be good, in case anybody has questions. You're the appropriate person we should be asking questions to.
So I'll just, can we pull my PowerPoint back up, please? And I'll just circumvent this back
Sure.
to countywide amendment. Give him a second. Perfect, thank you. I will just speak on our countywide plan map amendments. So as you can see here, the only portions that are changing from preservation to recreation open space I calculated out it's roughly 3 acres, as city staff mentioned. So it's going to be the northern area and a small southern portion there. Other than that, we are amending only the office and retail and services to the recreation open space, and then increasing our preservation category in this section. I'll leave it at that.
All right, I'm just looking at my colleagues. Do you all have any questions on the project for our staff? Commissioner?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question. I'm not sure if it's for staff or it's for the applicant. It's just relative to stormwater management. So,
Well, then what I was hoping is let's let the city of Tarpon Springs manage that question. I don't want to go back and forth between the applicant, because then we have the opponent, and then that could become a SS. I'm trying to be polite.
Thank you, ma'am.
Go.
And I think technically we're the applicant, I believe.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
so I just, with this proposed project here, with the 3 tropical events we had in 60 days, dumping rain like I've never seen, unprecedented rain and storm surge, is that we've had areas of this county that flooded from just freshwater flash flooding that have never flooded before. So does that change the stormwater management plan for this?
I would say no. The project does include, I believe it's a 3-foot over base flood elevation freeboard. And I believe the stormwater pond, this is just in talking to our stormwater engineer, is a bit over-designed, actually, to pull some fill from that pond. So we haven't had any concerns from our consulting engineer regarding the stormwater system since the storms that it might need to change. So that's, hopefully that answers your question.
So if we got another 30 inches of rain in 2 months, you feel we're good?
Well, I mean, the stormwater system is designed to the current standards, which is the 24-hour, 100-year, I think it's, I forget, but it's the stormwater standards that have been in place, consistent with water management standards for all this time. Whether those are revised as a result of these storms, we can look at that. I believe the state has adopted some more stringent standards that would be revised in our code. They wouldn't apply to this project. This project's been approved. The site work permit's been issued. But I'm just saying, anecdotally, I believe it's a bit over-designed.
Okay, thank you.
So.
Well, and I think we have to remember, too, what the staff is asking us. It's about the countywide plan amendment designation. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. Gina.
Thank you. So just to be clear, what I'm hearing is that nothing that is designated as preservation right now is going to be changed to any different kind of designation. It's still going to be preservation.
Okay, the current map, which is of course based on aerial photography and is not a perfect map, there was no survey to base this map on, right? Until now, our applicant provided us a survey of the wetlands. The current map has about 14 acres of preservation on it. Of that, about, Emma mentioned, 2.7 actually acres, if you measure it on GIS, is on uplands. The rest is in wetlands. This amendment will result in about 22 acres of preservation that is all in wetlands. So there is about 2.7 acres that was, in my opinion, mistakenly mapped as preservation that should be, because it's not wetlands, it's uplands. That would now go to rec open space.
Okay. The other question that I have is, is on the permitted uses under recreation and open space. Recreation can cover a wide variety of things. In the backup material that we have, though, there are multiple places where it specifically says passive recreation. Passive recreation would not be a swimming pool, would it?
Are you asking in the recreation open space category?
Right.
If you're asking about
I mean, the explanation in our backup material, all of this information is showing multiple references to passive recreation.
Okay. Okay, so, and I can speak to the city's standards. I'm not sure if you want that or.
Well,
countywide maps.
again, I think, and I appreciate all the wide questions that are being asked here, but what we're here to vote on and have a public hearing on is the countywide plan map designation, which doesn't apply to some of this. So I just want to narrow again. I get it if you don't like the project and want to know those other things, but in public hearings, we're supposed to stick to what we're actually voting on.
Yeah,
It's not against you.
No, but I get it, that I'm going beyond that.
And I
but
just,
it-
because I
it
know
is
that
in the
everybody else
backup,
is going to do it too.
however. It is in the information that was provided to us.
Yeah, no, and I
so-
agree. A swimming pool is not a passive use of
Right, but it's
recreation.
also not an office or a store or a shopping center.
right. If you're asking, as far as the city code, is passive recreation allowed in recreation open space, the answer is yes.
Right. So I'm shifting away from that line of questioning now and just clarifying that what you're doing is actually adding to an area where we've got some parts where you can't have any kind of development. This is going to expand that from 14 acres to 22 acres of preservation space.
Yes, that's correct.
And in none of the area, whether it is preservation or recreation open space, would you be able to build the kinds of things that you can build as it stands right now?
That's correct.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Reggie?
Thank you. Yeah, I'll do my best to stick to what exactly we're going to vote on today, but yeah, I have all sorts of feelings about the project as a whole. This is the first time I've really had to interact with it, even though I've been aware of it for a while. My first question really is just like, why are we changing the piece of land at the top and on the, I guess if you're looking at the map, right-hand bottom side, from preservation to open space, if I could just have an understanding of that.
The resolution that Emma mentioned had the condition to apply, I think you heard that elsewhere, to apply for the change on the uplands. The city of Tarpon Springs has something called significant upland habitat. This parcel had 30 acres of that. It's the pine oak habitat. The applicant was required to, the code requires that preservation of 30% of that significant habitat. They actually have preserved more, it's 40-something. Once they showed that area as preserved, we required them to apply for the map amendment, and we're requiring a conservation easement that's part of the project. So the requirement was to change the upland, significant upland habitat to rec open space, which is why those 2.7 acres that were, again, in my opinion, mistakenly mapped as preservation are being changed to recreation open space because they're actually in the upland habitat.
Okay, this was what was agreed upon in the resolution that was referenced.
Yes, it is.
Okay, it still doesn't really make me feel comfortable about like the core reasons why it changed. I just hear that that's what it was agreed upon. But, I don't know.
No, no,
That,
no, no.
that was the,
Not you, not you.
Yeah.
that was the reason that the board added the condition that they apply. Whether it changes or not, doesn't affect the project.
Okay, all right, well, I can't try to look into people's minds and decide why things happen that way. I just didn't know if there was a simple explanation. Okay, I mean, the last thing I'll say is I want to preserve as much of this as possible. I'm being put in front of me a chance to preserve as much of it as possible. So I really can't do much else other
Yeah.
than what I have in front of me.
Any other questions for our staff or the Tarpon Springs staff? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. All right. We will now close the public hearing, and I need a motion and a second to approve this project, this amendment.
So moved.
Okay, Mr. Burke? Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Eggers? Okay. Any final comments or discussion on this from anyone? Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9-0. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to go to presentation and/or action items. We have PSTA activities report. I think Gina is probably in charge of that one. Yep.
Yes, thank you. The PSTA board met last on October 30th, 2024. The board received a presentation on PSTA's hurricane response. PSTA provided more than 660,000 rides during the storm response, including Hurricanes Helene and Milton. This includes the evacuation, recovery, and EOC requested rides. During the rescue and recovery phase, transportation was provided for high water rescues, large-scale shelter relocations, critical trips to vital medical services like kidney dialysis, and trips to FEMA disaster recovery centers. The PSTA board approved the purchase of one electric bus at 100% FTA grant funding, with remaining funds from a low-no emission grant and formula funding. The board also received an overview of the community bus plan, which PSTA is required to complete every 5 years. The work on this informs the first 10 years of the transit element of the Forward Pinellas Long-Range Transportation Plan and PSTA's required transit development plan. A more detailed presentation on the preliminary recommendations will be provided at our next meeting, which will take place on December 4th at 9 a.m. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Anybody have any feedback or questions for Gina? Okay, thank you, Gina.
Thank you.
All right, regional activities report. I guess I look to you, Whit. Tell us what we've been doing around town.
Maybe Commissioner Eggers can jump in here, too. I wanted to just update you all on the activities at the regional level to work with our partners in Hillsborough and Pasco County. We had our last TMA leadership group meeting on September 20th. And again, it's 3 representatives of this body, the MPOs in Pasco and Hillsborough County. And the primary focus there was to discuss the role of small cities and the scope of services for a management legal consultant to help us work through some of the trickier management issues related to whether the MPO would be independent or hosted, what the staffing structure would look like, and how we would handle all those things like IT and procurement and resources like that. It was, I would say it was an interesting meeting because we thought we had been making consensus along the way with some agreements about the size of the board and the voting structure of the regional board. And then we had some members who had not previously been at some of the other meetings where we made those decisions by consensus, and they suddenly didn't agree with some of those allocations. Particularly in Pasco County's case, the number of board members that they would have, and whether the airport and the Port Authority would be sort of off the top and not out of Hillsborough's allocation. We're going to continue to have discussions with those elected officials one-on-one, particularly with the Pasco County staff. But what that kind of led us to think about is maybe the TMA leadership group needs to meet a little more often in 2025. Particularly as we kind of move into more of a decision-making process about how to go forward and whether to go forward on this. There was also some discussion with the city of Tampa and their kind of sort of Damocles out there that they could just nix this at some point in the future and it would not go anywhere. And I think Commissioner Eggers and others questioned, well, why are we heading down a path of spending $500,000 if you're just going to, at the end of the day, say you don't want this regional MPO? So I know that my counterpart in Hillsborough County is going to be going to the Tampa City Council to talk to them about that. I don't think they're likely to say under no condition, no way, no how will we ever accept this. So I think we ought to proceed, but it's going to be something that we'll need to have careful conversations, not just with the city of Tampa, but with all of our local governments throughout the region. And so during 2025, we plan to go around and meet with the county commissions. We did have a joint meeting of the 3 county commissions scheduled, but it got canceled or postponed because of the hurricane. So when that gets rescheduled, I imagine I'll be back there making a presentation on where things stand. And we will be going to Largo and all of the cities around Pinellas County as well. And I only single out Largo because as the 4th largest city, you know, they're kind of on the cusp of whether they would have a voting seat or not on this regional board, and that's something, you know, everybody's going to need to pay attention to. The other issue is that the management legal consultant, there were some questions about how do we phase that, and maybe we could do a partial step. So we've built into that scope, based on those comments, that there will be check-in points as that proceeds, rather than breaking it into formal phases, which seems difficult, but at least at key points, bringing it back to the TMA leadership group and having check-ins. The issue of the small cities never really got resolved. I think what Hillsborough MPO staff and the board members have communicated is that that should be something for Pinellas County to solve on its own, because we have the most cities and they didn't want to dictate that to us. But I do think from a staff perspective, we feel like there ought to be enshrined some basic rules of how we all work together to appoint small cities and how that works. So we're going to continue to have discussions about that. We don't want to create a regional MPO where Hillsborough gets to do what they want to do with their smaller cities, Pasco gets to do what they want to do, and we get to do what we want to do. We should have some uniformity in that. So that conversation will obviously need to continue. The next meeting is on December 6th, and it is a Friday morning. We have Commissioner Eggers and Councilmember Driscoll appointed to serve on that. But several years ago, we modified our bylaws so that any member of the Ford Pinellas Board who is in attendance can represent this MPO on the TMA leadership group. And with Commissioner Long's retirement, we're going to need a 3rd person. So I will open it up for questions of me and to see if we have any volunteers or anybody who would like to join us on December 6th, again, which is a Friday.
I can't go, so, or I would,
You're out.
actually. I know, I'm out.
Yes.
So would this, when someone does volunteer, because I'm certain that someone will it be just for the December 6th meeting, or would that be an official appointment?
I'd like to just make it for the December 6th, because when we seat the new board, we're going to be re-voting on all those appointments, so it's really a fill-in seat. One other thing I needed to mention, I think Commissioner Eggers had a question about a timeline. I put a crazy org chart up on, and it confused everybody. And I think you asked for is there a timeline where we could see how this plays out? The timeline, we have developed a timeline, and that'll be in the packet for December 6th. What it essentially says is that if you approve the scope of work for the management and legal counselor on December 6th, then procurement would happen in January. And at the May meeting of the TMA Leadership Group, we would bring back that selection process and the recommended consultant and the rationale for that, but that it would be an information item, and then the Hillsborough TPO would vote on that selection, since they're doing the procurement. And we would expect the consultant to be underway by June of 2025. And then the rest of the timeline plays out. We give that consultant about 12 to 18 months to work through those issues, and then we'll enter the next phase of producing the documents. Again, it's a very convoluted process to de-designate and redesignate an MPO. And I think, we all want a good faith effort from all the partners going forward. I think that was the main message from September.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And has Hillsborough selected their replacement for Commissioner Kemp?
To my knowledge, they have not at
Okay.
this time, but they will need to.
Hey, Commissioner?
Yeah, Whit, I think you did a good job summarizing where we are. I would say a few things. One, the representatives from the city of Tampa and Hillsborough County, I'm sure they're not listening. But really, in my mind, and this is what I was challenging the group, if they're reflective of their organizations, then we need to pause.
Yeah.
And frankly, I don't think they are. And I continue to be surprised that the two representatives who seem to be negative on this whole thing are the ones that they're sending forward. And so I think we need to either flush that out a little bit and make sure that we're getting it. Again, if they're representing if they're representing their boards, then we have different issue to deal with. And I think that's really important. So I don't know how your counterparts are reading the tea leaves on their respective groups, but I think that's going to be extremely important. And to the extent that we don't have a regional meeting planned with those members, like the county commission is doing with the county commission issues, we don't have one that involves Pasco, Pinellas, and the major cities sitting in the same room, so we can have this good open dialogue. It makes it difficult to read, again, not to say it again, to read the tea leaves on what's going on in these groups. Mm-hmm. So to me, we've got to get a better handle on that. And though I do understand what you're saying about some kind of general approach on the small cities, I mean, we are just so beautifully unique in Pinellas County. I can't, how we approach it's going to be very different. I mean, I think the idea of respecting and having wording in there that talks about respecting all of our cities regardless is really important. We certainly have some really, really small cities, like, over in Hillsborough County, they have a kind of a small city. But the spokesperson for that small city, the mayor, is just incredible. And what he is bringing to this regional issue is beautiful. It's open, it has a lot of great conversation, and I get a feeling that he's representing his board and listening to what they're saying. So I don't know how we address all of that, but I do think that's going to be important, and maybe we should be targeting a meeting in that first couple of months, first 4 months of the year, where we get some kind of like a rubber stamp that, yeah, we're generally in favor of this. We haven't voted on it, but we're generally in favor of it. I think we need something like that. But overall, I think there seems to be some movement forward. Pasco kind of a couple steps back, but I think they're kind of on the train to move it forward. Pinellas seems to be on the train to move it forward. It's hard for me to tell about Hillsborough, and they just want to make sure that we know that they can, stop this at any time. So anyway, just some additional thoughts.
Those are good points. I think, post-election, it's good to kind of regroup with all the elected bodies here and get everybody up to speed, and that's what we intend to do. So appreciate that. I do want to point out one other thing that I was thinking of while you were speaking about the role of the small cities in Pinellas County. We will need to open up the Florida statutes if we do agree to merge the MPOs to recognize that the Pinellas Planning Council, in its incarnation as Forward Pinellas, has language in the special act that references its board being the MPO board. And obviously, if we form a regional MPO, we don't want Pasco and Hillsborough deciding land use cases in Tarpon Springs, as an example. So we will need to revisit that, but there's nothing to say that the Ford Pinellas board couldn't be an advisory committee representing all 25 local governments in Pinellas County to the regional MPO. So I have made that suggestion. It's on the record. We could either form a committee of small cities, or we could have Ford Pinellas represent Pinellas County's unique interests and let the other two counties figure out how they appoint their cities. But that's an ongoing conversation.
Reggie?
Thank you. Yeah, one thing I think is I've started to lose sight of in this conversation is the feelings of the state and the governor's office. I feel like that sort of kicked off a lot of this, you know, beyond what anybody from Hillsborough desired. And so now we haven't talked about that in a while, and what the implication there is, and if it's even possible for them to say no, and what leverage looks like. And I just didn't know if you had anything you could say about that.
Well, I've spoken to our legislative delegation members, most of them, about this at one time or another. More recently, our two Senate representatives, and they feel like we're on a good path. Senator DeSegli sponsored the bill in 2023, which required by the end of 23 we have a report, a feasibility report submitted to the governor and the legislature, and we did that. It outlined some potential costs. We're going to cross that bridge when we get to it. So I think the legislators are very strongly behind this, and I've heard that they're also looking at Lee and Collier County and other single county MPOs around the state, which have, you know, population moving together and travel across county lines, encouraging similar types of efforts. So we may see more on that in coming legislative session, if not this year, the year after. But I also feel like from those discussions that if we just shut it down, or we aren't continuing to make progress, that they will use their influence to do a little more than just encourage.
Yeah, and that concerns me because I feel like if we're not, you know, setting a table for what we want to see happen in our communities, like, it can be a very different conversation if the state comes in and tells us, no, you just have to do something and do it our way. Okay, just wanted to know what the latest was. I'd also be happy to volunteer for the December 6th meeting.
Thank you.
Anyone else have questions or feedback?
Yeah, just one thing real quick. I'm sorry. You know, to your point, Council Member Floyd, the state was moving, and I'd like to take, you know, the idea that we were moving in parallel and totally independent. I mean, they were moving on their time frame, but we were too. We were challenged about, what was it, 4 years ago now? I keep thinking back. It's scary how fast time goes, but about trying to pick a project here in this region, one project that we would all get behind. And it was kind of their way of saying, you know, if you guys, can you speak together as a group? And we really kind of were already talking that way, but we took the challenge. And this group here, not some of the members aren't here anymore, but said we want to pick one project, and we want to pick it in Hillsborough County. And it was State Road 60 and I-275. That was a bold statement to make the #1 project in this area in Hillsborough County. We passed it. The County Commission was supportive. The last people that supported it was Hillsborough County Commission. It was in their county. They said, well, we have another one that's more important. And we said, well, not to the region, maybe to you. It didn't mean that theirs wasn't important to the region. It just wasn't as high up. So I think there was a lot of interest from Pasco, Pinellas. And sometimes when Hillsborough takes off the, well, we're the big boy in the room kind of attitude, they feel similar. I've talked to some of them, and they feel similar, that we need to explore this option of bringing more funds to this area, you know, putting that net out there to capture more dollars. And so how do we get there? And that's some of the details that we're going through. And it's like a lot of in the weed working to get it worked out. But I do think there's been a kind of a parallel interest. It wasn't strictly county or state driven. Hillsboro's always been a little bit slow on it because what are we giving up kind of thing, you know?
Hang on, I'm trying to give people who haven't spoken yet a chance. Go ahead. You looked at me like you, anybody over here? Gina.
Thank you. I agree with Commissioner Eggers, and, you know, what's really driving me on this is the idea that this would create a mega MPO, that if we think, or if Hillsborough thinks, or anyone thinks that we're getting good chunks of funding right now, wait until we get this put together. The financial benefits and the progress that we'll be able to make are just immense, especially as we keep growing. We need to be growing together and not in these silos. What that does is it shortchanges everyone, and that hurts the residents, you know, whether it's on your commute to work, or if you're just trying to find you know, a good paying job, because economic development depends on, you know, this kind of regional connectivity that we're trying to go for. But individual projects, and I think regional thinking is something that doesn't require, it's not that much of a stretch if you think about the Tampa Bay area. So it is not a smooth path at all, because everyone has to make sure that they are protecting their constituents and protecting their areas. But we have made some good progress, especially, you know, especially this year. And when we have people who are not parochial in their approach, then, and don't mind saying, yes, I stand for St. Petersburg, I stand for Pinellas County, but and I stand for the Tampa Bay area. You can have both. And there are some voices on this particular committee that are afraid. And I think it's up to us. I think it's up to the strong people who really believe in this to guide those who are afraid to seeing this, you know, in a more positive way. I'm looking forward to seeing what changes happen on the board with the elections and people being turned out. I really hope that we have a strong person from this board who takes that third spot, because we need some help. And I know we can get this done. We've got to have the right people. It is also, if anyone is interested in getting into more regional work, I find it very, very interesting, and I'm learning a lot about what the needs are in Pasco and what the needs are in Hillsborough. It's been fascinating to me. I highly recommend it for anyone who has that kind of an interest.
Commissioner Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Eggers has brought this up in the past before, and I'll just bring it up again, that Tampa Bay Water is a perfect model of what you can accomplish when you think regionally. I mean, it's a perfect blueprint, and, you know, every month we come together, you know, Pasco, Pinellas, Hillsborough County, St. Petersburg, Newport Richey, and the city of Tampa. And we collaborate and we work together to ensure the region's water supplies. No reason that we shouldn't be thinking that way and acting that way when it comes to transportation projects as well.
Just add one thing to.
Okay, can I get the chance to speak?
Sure.
Anybody?
Go for it, Chair.
I'm going to throw something at you. I wanted you to clarify the Tampa piece. You said Tampa is the one struggling. Tampa versus Hillsborough.
Well, I think the issue is that there is a long history of anxiety or conflict between the city of Tampa and Hillsborough County over transportation. And it's a little bit different than water in that the needs of the urban core are different than the suburban edge and the fast-growing rural parts of Hillsborough County. They just don't have the same density and intensity. The safety issues are different. Accessibility issues are very different. So that's been an internal battle over there. Tampa has said in some of the meetings that, their population doubles during the daytime. And therefore, they need even more votes because they have all the jobs in the region, which is not how it works. But I think that they're feeling in their own MPO that they don't have enough sway and enough autonomy to set priorities and keep those priorities, that they're feeling even more threatened by this regional body. So to me, it's that dynamic primarily.
Okay. Are you worried about it?
I mean, I'm not worried about anything too much, but I
know
recognize that there are going to be challenges. And, I think what we have to do is show that there's enough in this collaboration for the city of Tampa and that we share a lot more than they think we do. I can point to Largo and St. Pete and Clearwater and some of our smaller cities that have the very same issues, and we're an urban county for the most part. So they shouldn't feel like they're on an island out there, the only ones dealing with urban core transportation issues. But if they ever want to get a rail project moving, they're going to need the whole region to support that. And with transit, you need a lot more to get things done than you do with highways, because highways are default. Highways are relatively easy to get done. They're expensive, but they're relatively easy. Transit's really hard. And so if Tampa thinks they can get a rail system going, they're going to need Pinellas and they're going to need Pasco. If I'm at the state level, that's what I'm looking for.
Thank you. Commissioner Eggers. I know, but I was trying to go back. You were trying to follow a point from Commissioner Scott, so I was trying to give you the floor.
Microphones, please.
Commissioner Scott made the comment about Tampa Bay Water, which is clearly a regional model that works. Businesses in this region, they don't really care about boundaries. They don't care about county lines. The universities don't care about county lines. FDOT, frankly, is working on a regional basis. They don't care about county lines. I mean, they have a county plan for each one. I get that. But everybody's working that way. And I remember an economist from South Florida says the only people that are going to get in the way of that regional approach are government elected officials. And he's right, because everybody else thinks it's a good idea. It makes sense on so many levels that we have to challenge our compatriots over there, continue to. In these meetings, it gets a little bit dicey at times, but I've called them out a couple of times. If you don't want to be here, then get up and leave, because this is an important conversation. If the rest of your board feels that way, then make that vote and bring it to us. But they never do. So I'm not sure how reflective of it is, but everybody else seems to be on that direction. So I just think that's something that we really have to work on to try to flush out. Thank you, Madam Chair.
David?
Well, I've said this before. A regional MPO speaks with a louder voice than individual. And I've been to Washington, I've been to the FTA. They didn't even know where Pinellas was. But when you mention Tampa Bay, they know right where it is. So a Tampa Bay regional MPO would garner a lot more money from Washington because they know where we are. They know where the I-4 corridor is. They know where, Clearwater's right at the end of it. And we do, everything here is regional. And if you talk to any of those people up there, the first question they'll ask you is, how big is this? They want more they want to be able to disperse that money to a bigger area, not to a smaller area. So, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just look at Orlando, Miami-Dade. I mean, those ones that actually got to a regional MPO are doing some great things. And so you're right. I believe that the elected officials that they think smaller are the ones that are going to get in the way of this because everybody else knows what I'm saying, that bigger is better. So I hope this, and I do know Hillsborough County because I've been to meetings with them. They're very, very vocal. They're unbending, and but still, we need to go forward on this because we need to be the same way. We need to say, hey, we need your help, you need our help to get this region really popping. Hey, I could tell you this, when they advertise to people to come down, they're showing us pictures of our beaches, you know. So we're in the plan there. It's not like they don't know who we are. So it's going to be hard, but I think we need to press forward.
Anybody else? The only thing I will say, which I've been consistent about since this whole conversation started, Hillsborough and Pasco, well, Hillsborough doesn't have the same issue that we do with the 24 municipalities, right? And I know that we're going to be using the larger cities on that board. But what I think a lot of us that are in the smaller communities have been able to take advantage of through their service on this board for decades is having a relationship with this organization and getting projects in their own community done. And so I don't begin to know or need to know this second and how that all will lay out. It's probably your advisory group or however you're going to do that. I just ask my colleagues, don't lose sight of that, because it's something that a small city like me, even though I'm the 5th largest city, I'm still a small city at 38,000 people. It gives us opportunity to have someone to go to try to get a project done. And, you know, especially when it involves a state road. And you and I both know, we've worked on several together. It is a long, arduous process. And to have to go directly to Tallahassee to try to figure that out is, you know, mind-numbing. So I just, you know, ask my colleagues to make sure that the little guys here in Pinellas County still have an opportunity and a way and a path forward to do that.
I did meet with the Suncoast League of Cities, and that was a very similar message that they sent, that they didn't necessarily feel like they had to have a seat, but the process had to be transparent, it had to be predictable, and it had to be open, and they were very clear about that.
Yeah. And thank you, too, for your service. I know it's not, I lose myself when I come over there. Yeah, it is not anything but fun, I can tell you that. I mean, you could probably see that, you could see the steam coming out of my ears when I go to those meetings when I filled in. You don't ever want to send me back over there. Oh, no.
Well, I invited one of our mayors over there, and he got so frustrated he got up and left about 15 minutes into the meeting.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
It's at the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council is the next meeting. So
Oh, that's good. At least it's not over at the FDOT place. All right, everybody good?
We need an action by the board to, if we can get an action just to affirm.
To do what?
I thought,
Oh. Is there a second? Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9-0. Yeah. Okay. Draft tentative work program.
We have Brian Hunter from FDOT here.
Hey,
today.
Brian, welcome. I really thought I was moving this meeting along until we got to that one.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Brian Hunter with the Florida Department of Transportation. Today, I'm just going to give you a brief overview of the tentative work program. We're going to have a public hearing for that coming up in December, so we wanted to bring that to you all prior to that. So this is for fiscal years 26 to 30. And just a quick reminder of what the tentative work program is. We work on a 5-year basis, and the work program is our 5-year plan for all the projects that are going to be funded by or through the Florida Department of Transportation. So it includes everything from our modal partner projects, planning, design, right-of-way, construction, maintenance, all of that kind of stuff. So as you can see right here, this is our adopted 5-year work program that we're working on. It's 25 through 29. Now, on June 30th of every year, the work program that current year ends, and on July 1st, year 2 becomes the new current year, leaving us a blank year at the end. So that's where we are right now, where we are adding that 5th year and also updating the interim years. And so that's what we'll be presenting on today. Once that is forwarded to the legislature and approved by them, goes to the governor for signature, and on July 1st of the next fiscal year, we get the adopted work program. So how we build the work program is based on 3 different things. We preserve our existing program, so that means if a cost increase occurred on a project or a schedule change needed to be made, we make those adjustments first. Then we fund the next phase of a project. So if we had PD&E or design, we then move to right-of-way or construction. And then the third thing is we add new projects. And where do those new projects come from? They come from either MPO priorities, regional priorities we get from the Suncoast Transportation Planning Alliance, or FDOT and our CIS priorities. So today I'll talk about the newly added projects, any projects that got new phases funded, anything that was deferred for one reason or another, or if it was on your priority list, that will be talked about today. And if you had been tracking a project over the last couple of years as it got added to the work program, and you don't hear me talk about it today, that's because the project has not had any changes, so we're still moving forward on the previously discussed schedule. The first category is planning. This is the funding that the MPO uses to do the important work that they do. And if you notice above the project title, it says Ford Pinellas Priority with your logo. That means that it's one of the projects that was on the priority list that you all approved. On the transit side, we have 2 projects that added capital dollars. One was PSTA bus replacement, and the other one is an intermodal lot that is going to be at St. Pete Clearwater Airport. They're building a new parking garage, and part of that they want to accommodate, ride share, bike, and pedestrian traffic, as well as drop off, that kind of thing. So that, and transit, PSTA transit as well. So that's what those funds will be used for, and that's for construction starting in 2026. Now, these are 3 intersection improvement projects that are primarily focused on bicycle and pedestrian improvements, and they were all on your priority list. They include Central Avenue curb extensions, 22nd Avenue, and Bel Air Road. And these all had a phase added in fiscal year 30. Construction for the first 2 and 22nd Avenue North had design for fiscal year 30. We also had some State Road 60 at Gandy from 4th to Brighton Bay. This is a traffic operations and intersections improvement project. Construction in 28 will basically add a new 3rd east-westbound lane and between those 2 points. And then the other 2 are on I-275 and I-375 to repave the shoulders, with construction in 30 and 29. And then complete street projects. These are projects that are focused entirely on bicycle and pedestrian improvements. These 3 were on the priority list, and we have deferred them at the request of the local agency. A lot of these projects do get implemented by the local agency, so as their plans change, we move them out to accommodate their needs. So these 3, the construction on the top 2 on 28th Street and Central Avenue got deferred to 27, and then on 6th, design and construction was removed from the work program. And then the top one is the same type of improvement, urban corridor, which is what we call our complete streets improvements. Design was deferred to 29, and then because of that, we usually have a 2-year gap in between design and construction if there's no right-of-way needs. So we removed the construction from the work program, but that will be a priority for us to add once we get to fiscal year 31, around that time frame, if the city is wanting to move forward at that time. Drew Street, that one, we got the construction added back. It was removed last year, but now it's back in there. We had the legislative concerns that we were working through and the requirements from them, so that became a candidate project last year, and this is just adding it back into the work program. as well as some local funding adding to that project as well. Then we have 78th Avenue North design added to fiscal year 30. Now on bike ped improvements, this number one, 699 Gulf Boulevard. I know that's, we were talking about earlier, how it's a long slog to get some of these projects into development and actual move forward with them. And that's one of those ones that's taken us a while to get here, but we are going to be able to start moving forward with that project. We've added right-of-way to fiscal year 30. And that one is kind of up in the air whether we have any right-of-way needs in that area. We might be able to do it within the right-of-way, and if it does, if we do not, we will be able to convert that money to construction so we can move forward even faster. And then we have the sidewalk gaps on the state system. This is phase 5. Every year we're trying to fund some construction on that so that we can continue filling in those sidewalk gaps. And the next two slides are going to be the resurfacing projects. Pinellas County is unique for me. Every other one is nice and wide, so it fits on one screen, but Pinellas County is the north-south, so I had to break it up into two. This is northern Pinellas County. We have one resurfacing project. When we do our resurfacing, it's usually only 3 years out, not the 5 years out, because we do those based on need, pavement condition, that kind of thing. So we look at those, we add design in the second year and then construction in the third year. So these will be under construction in fiscal year 28. Yes, sir.
Mike, please.
That's the only road you're talking about, resurfacing?
In northern Pinellas County.
What about 19 up in Palm Harbor, which is absolutely, we had to do that temporary stopgap effort up there. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm trying to think.
Well, actually, from Nebraska, Alderman, all the way down to State Road 60, there are aspects that have just been totally torn up, and we did something temporarily in the hopes that we would still have it. So if it's still in the plan to get done in that time frame?
Yeah, let me verify that, but I'm pretty sure that's in an inner year, and so this is only new projects.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, no, you're. And then in southern Pinellas County, there's a lot more resurfacing projects. As you can see, they're the blue lines. Those are the roadways that will be resurfaced, and that Gandy improvement is going to be done as part of the resurfacing, so that'll be a 2-for-1 on that project. And then lighting, we have certain targets that we have to meet with lighting funding and the amount of those projects that we do. So we deferred this one to meet those allocations. And that was on 275 and US 19 at just some various locations that had a need for lighting. That moved out from 29 to 30. Last year we had talked about the I-275 at Pinellas Park doing an electric vehicle charger deployment. Statewide, all of those projects were removed from the work program. We are waiting to get a new statewide rollout plan approved, and once that happens, we'll be moving those back into the work program. And then there's 4 aviation projects that were added this year. 2 of them are at Clearwater Air Park. The first one was, project was deferred 1 year to 26, and that is for repainting the runways and taxiway markings. And then the fence replacement, we added construction to 26 for that project. And then at Albert Wooded Field, both of these had construction added in 27. One was for extending a runway, and the other one was for rehabbing a taxiway. And then we have 3 landscaping projects. These all got
Second, Brian.
Oh.
Just a quick question. I didn't realize that FDOT had responsibility over runways.
Yeah, so we don't. We just financially participate in the project. So the local agency, whether it's county, city-owned, or an independent agency, they do the project. We just financially participate in that.
Okay, I didn't realize that. Thank you.
Yeah. And then we had 3 landscaping projects. 2 of them are on the Pinellas Bayway and 1 on Skinner Boulevard. Those will have construction either 26 or 27. On US 19, we're doing some frontage drainage improvements on the frontage road out there. So that'll be designed in 28 with construction in 29. And then the Curlew Road drainage improvements, we advanced the design because we needed a right-of-way phase. So we added the right-of-way phase after we had advanced the design and then had to defer construction a little bit back. So that one is a unique situation, but we're still going to be able to take care of that. And then we had 2 bridge replacements that were deferred at the request of the local agency. One was Ridgemore Boulevard, construction was deferred out 1 year. And then 7th Street North, the design was deferred to 28, and because of that, we removed the construction, but that'll be another case where as soon as the local agency is ready to move forward with that project, we'll be able to add that the next go-around to add construction to it. And then we had 2 bridge projects on the state system. This is the cable stay LED and median rehabilitation on the Skyway Bridge. We added or advanced design to 25 with construction in 26 on that project, and then doing some deck sealing and coating on various bridges around the county. We added construction to 29. And these are the breakdowns per each one of the different categories, how much we are spending, but overall it's about $650 million we anticipate spending over the next 5 years here in Pinellas County. And here are the dates for our tentative work program. The online public hearing will be early December. Public comments will be due on the 23rd. At January 10th, that's when the MPO objections letter, and I know that sounds like it's only for objections, but if you have good things to say, feel free to say that as well. And then early spring is when we get that sent to the legislature, and then July 1st, after the governor has signed it, if he chooses to, that's when we start our adoption of the new work program. And here's the website in case anybody is wanting to attend the work program public hearing. Public comments, once again, are due December 23rd. And please remember, if you're early, on time, or a little late, that's okay. Just get there safely.
Okay, questions? Yes, Commissioner Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Bayway landscaping, is that the Bayway that the Tierra Verde Community Association has been so upset about?
So there's 2 different projects. We have the east-west Bayway and then the north-south Bayway. And so that is the one that's from Fort DeSoto to, it's on the screen. I don't know why I'm trying to remember what it was, but Fort DeSoto to the Yacht Club Lane. So I believe so.
Okay, all right, got it. And then on one of the last pages here, it said 1.04 million for rail. What rail are we talking about there?
That would be just a rehabilitation of a railroad crossing.
Okay.
And if we have to go in and.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else? Oh, sorry, Commissioner
Yeah.
Eggers?
Just 3 things real quick. Bel Air Road, where we had that person, a young kid was killed. It says the improvements are for intersections. Is that what you've understood to be the issue that they finally came to for that road?
No, so that one, I don't know if Whit wants to address this one, but we didn't have enough funding to fund the entire project that the county wanted to do. So we talked with Whit and he talked with the county to, and I think what they're going to do is identify that first phase of improvements that can be made that'll have the biggest impact. So intersection improvements is probably just the work code that we have to put in our system. And so that's probably why it comes up as that.
Okay. There's other issues too, and then the Clearwater Air Park, and it probably comes from the city of Clearwater, but you remember the plane that crashed over, I guess, near Countryside or Clearwater Mall area? There was a beacon issue. Is there a beacon? That's going up. That's going up. Is that being? That's with the microphone. When they rebuild the building, they're going to be putting. Okay. All right. All right. And then Ridgemore Boulevard, I didn't hear. I'm sorry. It was deferred to 26, and the reason behind that? Just curious. What?
I'm not sure. We get the request from the
Okay,
local agency.
From the county?
Yeah.
Okay. I know there's been some issues. I didn't know if that was what slowed it down or.
Yeah, a lot of times on the bridges, the reason we get the request is because there's some sort of permitting issue. They tend to be a challenge at times. So
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's the case on this
thank
one
you.
or not. But
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Reggie?
Thank you. I think it was last year we had a conversation about projects whose funding were coming up short because of inflation. Am I correct? Okay, yeah. Just wondered if there was any I don't know, what the considerations were for projects that were not quite fully funded because of price increases.
yeah, so we've been trying to work that out, and a lot of the some of these deferrals are because of that, and we're able to reallocate some money from one year to another from one project to another within that year. And there's some costs that are just not eligible for reimbursement, and so that's where a lot of those challenges were really coming from. You know, it's utilities and landscaping are two of the big ones that are not federally reimbursable from these programs. But we have been trying to make sure that we're holding the reimbursable costs and make sure we're able to accommodate those increases.
Yeah, okay.
And so we're learning how much we need to keep in reserve for those increases. I mean, 5 years ago, nobody would have thought that asphalt would be 300% higher than it was then. So yeah, I think everybody's in that same boat.
Okay, cool. I'm glad to hear that work's continuing on that. I mean, I've seen in St. Petersburg, like, we've had to chip in more money for projects.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'd imagine other local governments are having to defer things so they can find money for it.
Yeah, either that or really narrow down the scope of the project that's done.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
because in the inner years, it's really hard for us to come up with money if nobody drops something.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I guess, you know, it's less gets done over time or scopes go down. Okay, all right, well, thanks, and thank you for answering that. Thank you, Chair.
As he's leaving, I'd like to acknowledge Mayor Ayub. Thank you
Yep.
for being here. We'll see you back in January.
Yeah, you're leaving.
Normally, thank you. Normally what we do is we have a letter in your packet, not necessarily an objections letter, but a comments letter, and we'll get that for the January meeting, since the deadline is 2 days after our January meeting.
Any other questions? No? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Regarding Albert Wooded Airport with the runway and taxiway projects, I know we're looking ahead, but I know you're aware that the airport has significant damage from Hurricane Milton in particular. And I wonder if you all have looked at this, and I know this is not a today project.
Yeah.
But we have a lot to do there. And so I wonder if you have taken the time yet to examine whether the timing is right, or can we, if we need to delay this because of other things that have to be taken care of first to get to where we can start this project? And it may not be the case, I don't know.
Yeah.
But do we risk getting kicked off the list or losing the funding, or do we just adjust the timelines?
No.
Are you going to work with us on this? Because we've got a lot to do.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a section, two folks that are dedicated to our aviation group, and they've been working with Albert Wooded Airport, and they will continue to do so. They're the ones who put in these new projects, so I'm sure they've coordinated with them. But as long as it's not in the first year, we can move those things around, especially if there's some sort of need that, you know, a natural disaster creates all sorts of challenges for everybody. So we understand that. And if there is a need for us to move or shift the project, that will accommodate that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And with airport projects, are you all looking at the possibility or the potential for some airports to accommodate some kind of advanced air mobility applications?
Yes. So we typically leave the airport planning to the airport experts, the folks who run it, and then we work with them to fund those projects that they feel are the highest priority. But I do know that we've done some advanced air mobility studies at the department on behalf of the group of regional airports, and Tampa International has had the demonstration. And we've been working to make sure that those are accommodated, if an airport wants to accommodate that we have a way to help them do that. And I know that the federal FAA money is looking at that as well, so.
Thank you. The St. Petersburg City Council's Economic and Workforce Development Committee has asked city staff to start forming a task force on advanced air mobility in regards to Albert Wooded Airport.
Okay.
And so as that gets organized and starts meeting, I'm sure that they'll be calling on your shop to come and speak and participate in that as we figure out what the right role Albert Wooded Airport will play.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense. The location is perfect, so.
I agree. All right, thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you, Brian.
All right, I'm not going to complain, but y'all let me off real easy this
Go,
year.
go, go.
I appreciate it.
Okay, we have the countywide trends and conditions report.
We have Robert Feigl of our staff. This will be a fairly short item.
You guys are accustomed to sort of zooming in to the weeds, into the details and specific projects a lot, and then zooming out a lot. I'd like to invite you to sort of zoom out at least to the countywide level. This report is called the Countywide Trends and Conditions Report, and this report serves as a tool to evaluate progress toward achieving the goals and objectives of the Advantage Pinellas Long-Range Transportation Plan that you just adopted. It also identifies safety concerns, traffic congestion, transportation infrastructure, and crash data, while also taking into consideration things like land use, employment. So it's a pretty broad report. It also informs transportation safety studies, the design of transportation projects, and assist in law enforcement with activities related to safety. I'm going to be giving a summary and highlighting key trends from the report, mostly on congestion and crash data. Fort Pinellas publishes numerous more detailed reports throughout the year. This one looks more at the big picture. This report's updated annually, provide a high-level snapshot of key trends in Pinellas County, and more detailed information regarding the crash data is always available to local governments upon request via our crash data management system. No one's a big fan of traffic congestion. We have less of the traffic congestion if more people utilized other means of transportation or worked from home or used transit more. And with more than half of our residents living less than 10 miles from their workplace, bicycling or walking or using transit is more of an option for our residents. We'd also have we'd have a lot less congestion if more people use transit especially, and I know one of the statistics that's been bounced around a lot is that less than 2% of people in Pinellas use transit, but that is only really referring to commuting, so the number is probably higher because it's not taking into consideration things like shopping, people using transit to go to restaurants, baseball games, or the beaches. So most likely it's more than 2%. We'd love to see the number higher, of course. Pinellas County's continue to make really good progress toward the infrastructure for bike peds. The Pinellas Trail Loop, for example, is 88% completed, in addition to numerous other trails throughout the county. Many residents, about 15%, are now working from home, up from 12.4% last year and 10% the year before that. And more than 30% have some sort of hybrid work from home model. Part of the impact of that shift to working from home is that we're seeing more trips spread throughout the county as opposed to seeing it during the morning and afternoon rush hours. As people are running errands during the day or ordering Uber Eats, et cetera. And more than a third of jobs in households are within a half a mile of a trail, making it easier and safer to bike or walk to school as an alternative to using single occupancy vehicles. Both of those are up 1% from last year. And this is a positive trend in that it indicates more households have access to multimodal options, including walking and biking. Traffic counts for monitored roads are back to pre-pandemic levels, but the traffic congestion is spread out more throughout the day, in part because of working at home trends. But as we'll see on the next slide, traffic congestion is not all bad. The orange on this graph indicates the percentage of vulnerable road users involved in fatal crashes depending on speed. You've either seen this graphic or one similar to it. It shows that the higher the speed, the more fatal the crashes are for vulnerable road users. The silver lining of congestion is that the reduced speeds in general are safer for vulnerable road users. If you think back to 2020, for example, there wasn't as much congestion on the roads, but people were going a lot faster. And we were seeing the number of fatalities for vulnerable road users going up a lot. So there is a good aspect to congestion. And the facts are sort of bearing this out. Although there's a lot of vehicles on the roads, the overall trend is that crashes, fatalities, and injuries are all down. And this is at least in part to the increased congestion, leading to lower speeds and fewer crashes, injuries, and fatalities. In this report, data in general on the crash data aspect of the report is reported on a 5-year average from 2019 to 2023. So for fatalities, for example, there was an average of 118 fatalities per year for the 5-year period between 2019 and 2023, and that's down 3% compared to last year's 5-year average. Most traffic fatalities involve our vulnerable road users, which are motorcyclists, bicyclists, and pedestrians. The number of crashes and crash fatalities involving both vehicles and motorcycles are down on average, but for the more vulnerable of the vulnerable road users, crashes and fatalities are up. Fatal crashes involving bicyclists were up 1% on average. Bicycle fatalities were up on average from 11 to 12 fatalities per year, which is an 11% increase. And the most vulnerable of our vulnerable road users are pedestrians. Crashes involving pedestrians are up 5% on average, and pedestrian fatalities are up 2.3% on average. Notably, impairment and aging drivers each account for about 1 out of every 3 fatal crashes. Fatal crashes for each category are down on average, except for teen drivers, which is up 1%. So in this graphic, at the top row, you can see that for impairment, 33%, or about 1 out of every 3 fatal crashes involves impairment. For the next one down, in comparison, for distracted drivers, only about 7% of fatal crashes involve distracted driving. The Safe Mobility for Life Coalition publishes a book for aging drivers that helps them continue to drive as long as possible. It's called safemobilityfl.com is the website, and you can get a free booklet from them that is really helpful for aging drivers and can help to make the roads safer. And we also obviously have some room for improvement with regard to impairment throughout the county. So we'll be looking more closely at that. Now, this report only covers technically the 5-year period up to and including 2023, but how are we doing so far in 2024? Because we do get the crash reports each month. And so comparing October of last year to October of this year, we have about 18.5% more fatal crashes involving vehicles. By October last year, we had 7 bicycle fatalities compared to 6 as of October this year. So far this year, we've had fewer pedestrian fatalities. There were 34 pedestrian fatalities as of October last year compared to 21 this year, and 16 fatalities involving motorcycles as opposed to 17 this year, so that's up 6%. From the earliest planning stages, project development and environment, to design and construction, and even after construction, Fort Pinellas and its partners continue to integrate safety into all aspects of the planning process. Notably, Fort Pinellas, in partnership with 6 local governments, submitted a joint application for the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant. It was successfully awarded just under $600,000 to support more targeted analysis on several corridors throughout the county to identify and prioritize low-cost but high-impact strategies that are implementable in the respective communities. Also, Fort Pinellas was notably just awarded $400,000 in a grant through the Safe Streets for All program to update Safe Streets Pinellas Action Plan, which will include reviewing high-injury network, using new data, analyzing high-conflict intersection, using near-miss technology, and also creating public-facing dashboards for crash statistics. And although Fort Pinellas is more of a monitoring agency than an implementing agency, we do work with and depend heavily on our partner agencies to integrate safety into every aspect of the planning process. Fort Pinellas also prioritizes, as you know, the projects which then FDOT, as you just saw, uses our priority lists to fund. And safety is taken into consideration a lot in the prioritization process as Ford Pinellas puts projects on the priority list, and then in turn by FDOT during the whole process of constructing, planning and constructing projects. So many of the projects in the draft tentative work program that you just adopted are also related to safety in some way. And that's it. And with that, I can take any questions. Thank you.
Questions? Commissioner Scott?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Rob. On the traffic in Pinellas County slide, average annual traffic here is 24,931. Can you put some context to that? Is that like at one place in the county during the day, or what does that number really mean?
So that's for monitored roads. So we don't monitor all roads, but for the roads that we do monitor and that we've been monitoring for a long time to be consistent from year to year, we haven't changed that too much. Some of the local governments are also monitoring certain roads, and so we use that data to come up with something called the annual average daily traffic numbers. And so we're basically looking at that. It's not, as I said, it's not all the roads, but it gives us an idea. And so
It's the same roads measured all the time? Okay. Got it. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Anybody else? Yep.
Just real quick, thank you. You had the slide that had the pictures of people, like impaired drivers, 1 in 3, it looked like. Yeah, okay, I just want to make sure I understand this. The aging drivers, what's this percentage in the middle? Can you describe that again?
Right, so this is for fatal crashes, and for all of the fatal crashes on average that happened during that 5-year period, aging drivers were involved in 1 out of 3, actually 34%.
Okay, that's a large number, and that's why I brought it back
yeah.
here. Yeah,
It
that's
is.
a really big number for aging drivers, yeah.
Yeah, and I'd say those are two of the biggest takeaways is the impairment, the 1 out of 3 impairment,
Yeah.
and 1 out of 3 for the aging drivers. Definitely kind of gives us an area to focus on.
Yeah, as frustrating as impairment is, that's not a huge surprise, but aging drivers did surprise me. So thank you. I just wanted to make sure I understood this slide. Yeah, that's definitely a place we can work on things. Thanks.
The perception typically is people are assuming it's teens, but if you look right above it,
Yeah,
that's
no.
only about 6 or 7% of fatal crashes involving teens. It's actually our aging drivers. And there is a lot that can be done to mitigate this, so that's why I referenced that website to get they have a really good booklet that you can give to someone, slip it in with some magazines like I did with my mom, and it's really informative, and it gives them some good tips, like some common sense things like just getting your eyesight checked annually, just off the top of my head. But there's other things in there as well that can be helpful, so we can hopefully drive that.
Yeah, this is stunning. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Councilmember Burke.
Go ahead.
Just for clarification, though, these aren't the victims of the fatal crash. So the aging drivers, that many people didn't necessarily die in a crash, but caused the crash, and someone died.
So the data comes from police reports, and so we carefully word it involving. We use the word involving. That's why I have it at the top of that left category. The reason we say that is because in a lot of the reports, the police reports that we receive, we don't necessarily know, like with impairment, for example, what we do know is that impairment was involved in that in those statistics, but we don't know necessarily if it was, say, a pedestrian who was drunk and wandered out into Gulf to Bay at night wearing all black clothes, or if it was the driver who was drunk and just flooring it. So that's some of what we don't know from that. And it's not just alcohol. It could be impairment from drugs, legal or illegal. But it does give us, looking at it broadly, a place to kind of focus on. And so any of the local governments can, upon request, we can generate a report that's going to give you a lot of information that's a lot more detailed. So if you have a concern, you want to get that report, you might find out that there's a lot of impaired crashes, this is just fatalities, but you might see there's a lot of crashes in a particular area that's near a bar, for example, and
We can drill down to like the city
law
level or to a
enforcement
quarter level or something.
Wolfpack come and sort of stake the place out. That's kind of usually the way it plays out.
I'd also like to point out that one of our former state senators at one of our legislative meetings said that impairment was 60% of all fatal crashes, and that's not anywhere close to accurate. So it's more like a third.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you very much, appreciate it. Good information. All right, nominating committee report and election of officers.
All right, I'll handle this one. The nominating committee met not long ago, about 2 weeks ago, October 28th, and I want to thank everybody who expressed an interest in serving on the executive leadership of the Ford Pinellas Board. The committee made a recommendation after good deliberation and discussion to recommend the candidates as identified in your packet, with Councilmember Gina Driscoll as chair, Commissioner Dave Eggers as vice chair, Councilmember Patty Reed as secretary, which is the most important job, by the way. We're still trying to figure out what the secretary does. I'm just kidding. The treasurer is the most important because the treasurer signs all the checks, and the board the committee recommended David Albritton, Councilmember Albritton, as the treasurer. There were other folks who expressed an interest, and we're going to be looking for roles for those folks as well. So we're seeking a vote of the board to affirm this or other action as deemed appropriate.
Okay, can I have a motion to affirm what? Okay, was that you, Dave? Yep. Okay. Dave and Gina, any other conversation? All right.
Madam Chair, for the record, there's no citizens wishing to be heard on this action item. Thank you.
You're just faster than I can speak over there. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9-0. All right. The next one's on you.
Yeah, and just a reminder, we'll be doing appointments for our various committees and other boards in the new year. The next one is for me, and I'll just be very quick, but I wanted to recognize Chelsea Favero over there. We have promoted Chelsea to MPO Division Manager. It's a big deal. I would ask her to give a speech, but she's given you plenty of speeches,
Yes.
not just today, but over the last couple of years. Chelsea is a manager of the MPO team. We kind of tag team because we share a lot of the same interests and passions of leading an MPO, and I couldn't do what I do without her, and she's a super valuable person. So both she and Rodney are division managers, and we'll bring back an updated org chart when we do the orientation with the board, but just really, it's a reflection of a lot of dedication and good work, and you email Chelsea, you'll get an email response pretty much anytime, 24/7, it feels like. So she is very, very accessible. The next item is I just wanted to recognize our staff for their work on Hurricanes Helene and Milton. We were pretty much a behind-the-scenes agency. We're not out there clearing debris and fixing your water and dealing with the water treatment systems, but Tina served overnight in the Emergency Operations Center on the operations desk, a very highly visible role in the EOC, and that was really important. And then we had a lot of our staff, Jared Austin, Linda Fisher, Caitlin Nyman, Nasheen Rahman, Kyle Simpson, and Emma Winnick, all providing support for damage assessment after both storms and ongoing recovery efforts. And several of us are still involved in housing recovery and infrastructure recovery. And we'll have a lot more to say probably in the new year about the housing recovery team. Emma is going to be working on a knowledge exchange series looking at disaster recovery for housing, and that's something that we're involved with the county on in terms of doing some research on what are the experiences of other communities, what have they learned, what lessons have they benefited from, and especially places like on the Gulf Coast that, maybe Biloxi or Gulfport or even New Orleans, it was 15 years ago or almost 20 years ago that Katrina happened. They might be a little more free to say what worked and what didn't work now than, say, Lee County, which just had a storm a year or two ago. So that'll be something we'll be compiling and putting together. And we're looking to pivot our housing action plan, which focuses on, building more housing supply over the next 10 years for a range of income levels. And we're probably going to be looking at adding a recovery component to that. I mean, keeping on the path we're doing. And then stay tuned for details on our housing summit that we're planning in conjunction with the county for likely May of 2025. That'll focus a lot on recovery efforts. So really want to just say thanks to the staff and the extra hours and time that they spent dealing with the hurricanes, as we all did. And we don't get a lot of recognition, but it was a lot of important work. Next, I just wanted to point out where we are on the reapportionment. We are seating the new board. Everybody signed the interlocal agreement. We've sent it to the state, and the state has signed. So that's all done. Thanks to Tina, who really bird-dogged that effort and got those presentations or agenda items set up in very quick fashion when we got the governor's letter. The only thing that's outstanding is the appointment of the Barrier Islands Government Council representative, Mayor Will, who's not here today. He is able to serve through the end of the year by virtue of his appointment. They will be meeting, it's coming up, right, in the next week or so?
December 4th.
December 4th. So they'll be meeting in about a month to make that appointment for the next year. So we're all set there. In the brevity of time, I'll just cover the spotlight emphasis area. We have started working on the US 19 North corridor planning effort, and about a little more than a week ago, we held a meeting with the representatives of the businesses in the Palm Harbor area at St. Pete College and got their concerns, questions, thoughts, so that we can begin drafting a scope of work with DOT on that corridor study. The corridor study is going to specifically look at the viaduct option, which you've seen, versus continuing building the individual interchanges at Klosterman, Alderman, and Tarpon Avenue, if I'm remembering all those right. And that is going to take a fair amount of effort from the DOT to drill down into those details. And so we'll be initiating a corridor study in the near future for that. And the Gateway Partnership, we had a meeting on October 22nd to review the scope of work for implementing the Gateway Master Plan in Largo and Pinellas Park in St. Pete. Largo and Pinellas Park are moving forward with the Gateway Master Plan implementation. It ties into the target employment industrial land study to make those recommendations part of the Gateway Master Plan. St. Pete, I think, was just dealing with a lot of debris removal, and we'll get to them next. And then Pinellas County is going to be part of that, but probably not till 26. So we're phasing that. And then I just wanted to finish by saying that we had a great meeting with the airport, St. Pete Clearwater International Airport, and the City of Largo, DOT, and PSTA. And we are advancing intermodal center feasibility study that's fully funded by DOT, which is great. And then a east-west corridor study for East Bay Roosevelt that will be partially funded by us and by the Department of Transportation to look at mobility options and strategies in that corridor. And that's an effort that is kind of in response to the amount of growth and development that Largo is doing in their downtown. It is, part of that road is a county-maintained road, part of it is a state-maintained road. And I think the city is getting a lot of concerns expressed by their residents about, is infrastructure keeping up with the amount of growth? And it also ties into both safety and mobility challenges we're having in that corridor. So look to both of those scopes of work coming back to this board in the new year. Do y'all have any questions for me? That is all I had for my director's report. If you'd like to move back to recognitions.
Yeah, we'll move back to recognitions. I see that Vice Mayor Eric still didn't come, so I'm leaving it up to you guys.
Well,
It's on you.
I'll take this item. I just wanted to take a moment, and Tina is going to be Carol Merrill here passing out recognition with Maria, but we do have a number of our board members. This is your last meeting. Mayor Bajowski, thank you so much for all your years of service. Thank you, Councilor Burt, Councilor Mohammed, and I think I've got everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we've
Thank
just
you,
got
thank
some
you.
small little gifts of appreciation for you all.
Are you wanting us to open them?
Feel free to open them. We're not going to take a whole lot of time, but I'd just like to recognize the board members and all their service
Oh, wow.
for this year.
I
It's
can
been
see
great.
that. I'm not pulling that out, but it's glassware. It's wine glassware, which is beautiful. So I don't want to pull it out because I know I'll break it. I'll be using that tonight.
So
Well-
credit goes to Tina, who did a little bit of research to figure out what y'all like.
Thank you very much. And let me. Yeah, and let me just tell you, you haven't lost me, you know, my new position, well, it's not so new anymore at the chamber. Transportation and transit is a huge issue on our advocacy issues this coming year at both the city, the county, and the state level. So you'll be hearing from us.
And I think I need to point out that Mayor Bajowski may
Yeah.
be the longest tenured board member who's now terming off. You were on my hiring committee.
I was.
So,
I was.
almost 10
And
years
I was
ago.
the PSTA person at that time, the PSTA rep. Yeah, I was. And I was very glad. And you know, we've not made a big deal out of this, but for anybody that doesn't know, Whit is my pseudo cousin. Not kidding, by marriage. He's my cousin from North Carolina. I didn't know that at the time of being on his hiring committee, but he really is. We are related by marriage.
She calls me up in the middle of the night and goes, "Do you know Dave Blanton?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's my brother." So.
Yeah, that's my cousin. And so are you.
Anyway,
So
it's
you got that off your chest.
Yeah.
And you're
I had to. No, but I'm my family historian and genealogist, and I don't know. I was in that part of the family and started seeing the whole Blanton stuff, and I was like, wait a minute, Whit Blanton? Huh? Let's look him up. There he was.
None of us are related to the Blanton bourbon, unfortunately.
Yeah. Anyway.
So the last thing I'll point out is on information items. We do have our new board meet and greet orientation set for Sage's Bistro on the 2nd at 12:30. All of you are invited. I hope you all come and share a little bit of wisdom about what it's been like to serve on this board. They're opening up the restaurant for us at a very, very economical price.
Nice.
And it's just a good social opportunity to introduce the new board members with the current board members. And we'll do a little orientation, but no PowerPoints, I promise you. And it's just an opportunity to start that transition. So that's all I have. Thank you very much.
All right. Everybody good? Good for the order? All right. Hope to see you around town, guys. Come visit me in Dunedin. We are adjourned.